Hello, and
Welcome back, everybody. We have an extra special episode today because today we have our first interview. And not only is it our first interview, it's like the most special interview ever because we have Felicia Wong here. And today is her birthday. And today is Earth Day, y'all.
Yay!
Yay!
Jazz hands.
Yeah, jazz hands.
Ooh, what
I
was
know,
that?
right? Confetti.
Confetti.
And we have so much to share with you because Felicia is so much good to share, and we're gonna get to know her more. And I've had the privilege of knowing her for the last 20 years as a dear friend, and every year I always am enamored about her birthday being on Earth Day because it's the true essence of who she is, and you're gonna get to know her more and more intimately. Welcome back to another episode of Joy, the Journey of You podcast. We're your hosts, Devin and Chris, and we're here for joy.
this podcast is your permission slip to reconnect to your inherent joy and to embrace it.
Let's fill up the cosmic joy pot together as we dive in to today's episode. So, Chris, take us away as we get to know Felicia Wong more and more.
Well, thank you for that intro, Devin. And so happy to meet you, Felicia. I'm super happy and excited to have you on this podcast. And I don't know you at all, except for the things that I know from Devin about you. And I would love to know, and for our listeners to hear, who are you? What do you want to share about yourself?
Whoa, there's so much goodness. What do we start with? Thank you for having me. I've been listening to your podcast, and it is truly the essence of what your purpose is that you want to put out, and the journey of you being joy. And I love every part of it. So thank you for including me in this. So glad that you asked me on today. Let's see. Oh, hearts. I like that too. Um, the journey of me, really. Like, it's so interesting because I've been thinking about it a lot as my birthday is on Earth Day. And for the longest time, I didn't really realize like what my purpose was here. And one time I sat in shared space with Devin, and I was pretty new to shared space. And I was like, what is this? What are we doing in group meditation? What does that mean? And I was, kind of dabbling and dipping my toe in. And I was like, okay, if we're going to do this, let's do this. Universe, what is my purpose? And it was like, you're here to save the planet. What? What? I
Yes.
said a lot of other words in there, but like, what? And so, but then it made sense because, as Devin knows, she's known me since my college days. And when I was really passionate about the planet, it came out as yelling and crying a lot. So I was like too overwhelmed by emotions about how much I cared about the planet.
Mhm.
And so it was really difficult to like voice myself. And so when this message came through, I was like, oh, okay, that's something I've been doing already in terms of like, you got to recycle or you got to use less and consume less. And I didn't really realize it until we had that shared space session together. That was pretty close to my birthday then, and that was 5 years ago now. So um, I'm, and that's shifted over the last 5 years in terms of how I show up and what saving the planet means.
Mm,
And one of those things, right, is helping uplift people and help people experience more happiness in their day-to-day lives,
mm.
um, in whatever ways that they can.
That's
Mhm.
absolutely gorgeous. And it feels like um such a huge purpose to have. And it feels like when I hear that, it feels a bit overwhelming, to be honest. But it's the little steps that get us there, right? And the little steps that each one of us takes. And it's so funny because we have Christmas over the Christmas tide, we have this little tradition that we do where we write down 13 wishes, and every night we burn one wish. And the 13th one is the one that you get to take care of yourself, and the rest is supported by the universe, right? And so when my
Mhm,
son did it, I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago, actually, to think of it,
mhm.
the 13th wish that he had left over for him to take care of was to save the planet.
Mm.
So, and I was like,
Oh.
oh my God, the poor kid. How could he do that?
Yeah, and that's why when the message came through, when I was like, to save the planet, what in the
But
world? Like, what the heck? How? Um, and it's been hard. Like as Devin knows, I'm someone who's been fairly planned out throughout my whole life.
Mm,
I like to plan, I like to control, I like to see things done, I liked productivity, and that equaled my worth for some reason, because
mm.
that's how we were conditioned in some way or
I was gonna say
another.
back in the day.
Yes.
We know why, but it's okay. We can get into that a whole nother day. Um, right. And so it's really been a lot about what you're talking about, Chris. I did that same exercise this year for the first time, like this
Mhm.
past winter solstice.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, the one I was left with, and it wasn't quite our wishes, it was more so like actions you want to take in 2025.
Yeah,
So
for
we
the
all
kids,
have
it's
this,
yeah, we should yeah.
yeah, like huge laundry list of things,
Hmm.
oh, we want to accomplish again with the
Hmm.
productivity.
Hmm.
Um, and so the one I was left over with was write a book this year. So let's allow that to be and that balance of like allowing and doing,
Hmm.
right? And where that sits. And I'm working on that as I mentioned, I was like quite productive, seemingly, at one point in my life. And then I completely swung the pendulum the other way. I was like, I'm gonna do nothing. Now-
I love
So
it.
now we're coming back into some flow and
Yeah.
Hmm.
understanding of what it means.
Hmm.
Speaking to that,
Gorgeous.
Felicia, can you just share a little bit about, well, just share like what's your background before you started
Yeah.
getting into coaching 5 years ago and changing the and swinging the pendulum the other way? What was the other side of the pendulum?
I'm glad you asked, Devin. So it's funny because I started in accounting when I was in college because I was like, I like math. And no one in high school tells you that like accounting is not math, like at all. So like, okay, I don't like that. So I took some extra courses and Devin took this course with me as well. It was like career and life management kind of course where we took all those quizzes and psychological testing and things like that. But I was like, I do like physics and math, right? So I actually went into engineering with the hopes of becoming an environmental engineer.
Wow.
And at the school I went to with Devin, we went there for bowling, which will come later, but we went there for bowling and they only had really mechanical engineering that fit that mold. So I went into mechanical engineering and I loved it. I did. Um, I, tied my identity to my scores and my grades in school, if that's a thing, which it was. Um, and so I I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, originally, before I went out to school. And it's a very big oil and gas industry. So when I was looking for a job out of school, I applied to a lot of different environmental engineering positions, like in Wichita, Kansas, which is where I went to college. But not a lot of people wanted to take on like a foreign student being from Canada, having to deal with visa issues and that kind of thing. So the job that I landed in was environmental auditing for an oil and gas company.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, that's not, like I'm still, oil and gas is a part of what we do. Um, it's a part of our world, and maybe if I can help them do oil and gas in a more environmentally friendly way, that's still sating the need of like being an environmental engineer. I stayed in that job for 12 years, and toward the end, there was a lot of anxiety actually,
Mm.
to where it got anxiety attacks and things like that. And
And did
I
you
was
did
like,
you did you really work in the environmental orientation in it then? Were you able to do that or not so much? Is that what caused the anxiety, do you think?
um, there was environmental orientation in it. I
Mm,
stayed in the environmental auditing position for 2.5 years, and I was like, okay, I'd like to do something a bit more engineering focused and
mm,
like technical based. And so I went into more of the mechanical engineering and specifically pipelines,
mm,
right? And so we were dealing with how to properly operate, maintain, design, and construct, install pipelines. And
mm,
so I'm like, okay, yes, if you design them and install them, construct them in a safer way, they'll last longer, they'll be
mm,
safer, and then you operate and maintain them, they'll prevent spills and this
mm.
kind of thing. Right. And that is a part of it. Oil and gas is not going to be phased out in the
Quite as
near,
quickly.
near future,
Yeah.
like not in the next 10 years.
Mm,
So we do need people like that in the industry.
for sure.
But for me, it wasn't enough.
Mm,
the anxiety came from the disconnect of like, no,
Mm,
Felicia, you're meant to do something
mm,
that really supports the planet, that is truly sustainable, that is working in harmony with the planet.
mm,
And to me, that wasn't oil and gas,
mm. Yeah, that's what I
you
was
know.
getting to. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mm,
so, um, I took a step back from that in early 2021. And that's where I swung the pendulum, as Devin was talking about, the other way. And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Now that was fairly shortly after the Saving the Planet shared space meditation. Things do align
Shifted.
for a
Yeah.
reason.
Mhm.
The universe was like, okay, Felicia, enough. Like you've done this for 12 years. You've had breakdowns almost every year, if not
Mm,
every 6 months. Like, I'm trying to tell you already.
mm.
So now, like,
Listen.
listen, I'm going to make this more extreme. I'm going to throw these people who are more spiritually aligned, who are more soul aligned for you to like help bring you on this path more.
Mm.
All right. And so then I realized, okay, so here's where the bowling comes in. Devin and I met bowling. I've bowled all my life.
Wow.
And it's been fascinating because Devin and I had these talks a lot while we were in college about all of these lessons that you learn through bowling that are actually applicable in life.
Wow.
And you're like, that
What?
doesn't make sense, right?
Like
And
share one, share one.
so one of
I can think
my
of one.
like patent pending quotes is loose hand, loose swing carries everything. So you think about when you're bowling, you're swinging a bowling ball in time with your footsteps, and then the bowling ball gets released when the timing is right, and more energy is transferred from the ball to the pins,
Mhm.
right?
Wow.
So when you're loose, more
Mhm.
energy actually gets transferred from your arm, from your heart, from your soul into
Mhm.
the ball.
Into life.
And you knock down more pins,
Mhm.
you break up bad splits and you strike more.
Mhm.
And so it's really a lesson of like letting go, let
Mhm.
go of everything, surrender, really,
Mhm.
and as you both know on your journeys, like the more you try to hold on to something, the more you try to control an outcome, the more you actually create your fears, right,
I
to
laugh just
come
because
true.
in bowling, if you grip, it's like you just mess everything up. If you grab, even like the last moment, you
Even
could
a
just like
hair, you like you're gonna leave a single pin and you're like, oh, that was so unlucky, but it wasn't
Mhm.
actually unlucky. It was a
Mhm.
misalignment.
Mm.
mm,
And so learning how to feel that in bowling, right? In this space that seems like just purely physical. You're
Mm.
just throwing, executing a shot, throwing a bowling ball down the lane. And really you get into sometimes an existential crisis of who am I and what am I doing? Right.
mhm.
And the more that you let go and focus on the process and the next step, right? Just like in okay, how are you saving the planet? Right? I need to focus on lean into what feels good. Trust that that's the next step.
And just the next step, right? You only have to focus on the next step.
That is still challenging for me, very much.
But I mean, like that
Yeah.
applies into bowling too, right? So oftentimes, like let's
Mhm.
say you're on a string of six in a row, right? And you're headed towards a 300. If you start focusing on your 300 and not just like this shot, and it's just like there's so many things that like just play where you're at, just play where you're
Mhm.
at. And the
If you
same
want to
thing in life,
hear
right?
a funny story, this is like the living analogy of what happened. I was asked to go on TV to record um, a PBA junior show. So they pair a pro with a junior bowler, and you're competing against another team,
Mhm.
Let's
right?
just
How
And they
clarify
fun.
because I don't think we've made it explicit. Felicia's a professional bowler now, by the
Oh,
Oh,
way.
I'm a
wow.
professional bowler. Yes.
Wow.
I I travel full time on the pro tour, and
Oh,
this will be my
wow.
fourth season doing that. And,
Wow.
and so they asked me to record this show with a junior bowler and another pro bowler and junior bowler. And we're only bowling like a half a game together.
Mhm.
So I only bowl two frames on TV. And then if you win, you get to move on. So I strike on the first one, like, yay, that was loose, that was joyful, all the good things, right? And the next one, I throw a pretty good shot and I leave one pin. And just before I'm going to go spare it, I think, oh, wouldn't that be embarrassing if I missed it?
Oh no.
Like,
Jinx
you know where this
yourself.
is going. I missed it completely. I missed it. And I knew it off my hand. Like it looked like I just missed it by a little bit,
Mhm.
but I missed it before I even stepped up on the approach.
Mm.
Right. And that's the whole thing about like when you're trying to control an outcome. And I thought, okay, I'm redirecting my thoughts. I'm upgrading my thoughts. I'm like, okay, just focus on your steps, yada, yada, yada. But I hadn't let it go and taken a moment to like reground myself to the truth of who I am or like the truth of the moment, be in the moment, focus on the next step as Devin said, the literal, like just next step, just count your steps, right? And I missed it on TV. And to this day, people are like, oh, I saw you on TV and you missed a 7 pin. Like, yeah, that tracks. Thank you. Oh, if the universe is trying to be funny. Okay, I'm gonna try to laugh too. Oh, let go. The more acceptance we have of everything around us, right? The more that we can be free to like embody anything, what our true nature is.
Mhm.
Amen.
Bravo, sister.
Amen.
Ah,
So
Mhm.
ah.
you coach now, obviously.
Yes,
So much
yes. So
wisdom. I'm really glad that you coach.
thank you.
So who do you coach and what do you coach?
That's a good question. I'm working on that
Mhm.
or letting that come to me.
Claiming it? Claiming it.
Claiming it. I'm also claiming it. Yes, so the balance of claiming and allowing, right?
Mhm.
And letting it emerge. I definitely coach bowling, right? I coach people in bowling. And it's funny because I was taking a coaching course a while ago and it's like, tell people what they want, but give them what they need.
Mhm.
So through bowling, through whatever blocks hold them back from performing at their best, we get into life coaching as well.
Mm.
So while I'm teaching bowling, there's a lot of life coaching that happens and helping guide people through. A lot of the times we've attached our identity to what we do,
Mm.
right? And you guys have talked about that on your podcasts, episodes. It's like I'm not a coach. I'm all of these other things, and coaching is just an expression of how I do
Mm.
what I am,
Mm.
right? And so trying to help people understand that if you have a bad day in bowling, you're not a bad person.
Mhm.
You're
Obviously, yeah.
not a
Mm.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy, like the golfer who just won the Masters, and he's now one of the ultimate Grand Slam champions. Like he has a podcast where he talks about like when he used to play badly, he would think I'm a piece of shit,
Mm.
right? And when you have a good day, you're like, I'm the best golfer
Wow.
in the world. I'm the best bowler. I'm like everything's great, right? And how can we come more to that acceptance, understand who we are at our core, and that bowling is an expression of who we are. It's not who we are.
Mm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what comes to mind is that like how you do one thing, you do everything. So, like you just had all these examples from bowling, how you can translate that into
Hmm.
the rest of your life. I love that.
Thank you. And that's
Mm.
that's why I expanded into life coaching.
Mm.
And you had mentioned mindfulness coaching,
Mm.
habit tracking coaching, things like that, right? I recently took a purpose coaching course,
Mhm.
right? So I want to expand more into the life coaching aspect, into how do people bring more joy, more happiness, more exuberance, more truth of who they are in nature into their daily lives, right? You don't
Mm.
have to go and change and uproot everything in your life, right? How can I bring that in more on a day-to-day basis
Mm.
as well?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, now that we know some of your background, which is so striking, so diverse, and
I like
so
that you said striking.
She didn't
She
even.
didn't notice.
The puns, they're alive, baby.
You can't write this stuff up. You can't force this.
Oh my God, that was
That was
awesome.
so that was
Go
good.
for it, Chris. Keep striking away.
yeah, so awesome. And I love that. So one of our questions here is is something that people are surprised to learn about you when they meet you the first time. And what Devin shared was that she used to do bowling. And I was like, what?
Mhm.
She had no
Now
idea.
you come on with that. So that's not something that people are surprised about you because it's very obvious. So what would be something that people would be surprised?
I think they're still surprised because most people are like, I've never met a bowler. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I have not.
that's normal. That's normal. Other than that, I am a yoga teacher. So
So
if we
many
think
good
about,
things. Oh my
I
goodness.
know, right?
I love the interconnectedness of it all, right?
Mhm.
Like the life lessons from bowling and yoga and life and how they all interconnect. And then I'm also into music. I play some instruments and I love to sing.
Wow.
And that,
You're like
yeah.
you're like the one woman show for everything.
I
You
should
can
bring my
entertain the
instruments while I'm bowling, right?
you can entertain the whole village.
Oh, that
That's
would be
so
great,
amazing.
actually.
Oh,
Well, I just love
Yeah.
what this speaks to is because so many people, especially women, can be really feel like you're supposed to be in one lane or be doing one thing, but we're really multifaceted
You
as
said
women.
one lane.
Oh
For
my
those of
God,
you who
I
don't
did.
know, bowling, you bowl on a lane.
Oh
So
my God. It just is flowing out, right? But like this is the essence of it's the essence of Felicia, but I think it's a lessons for a lot of people where it's like you can have multiple things going on and have multiple different passions because there's different facets of who you are, and it really speaks to what Felicia was saying about expressions of your truth, not your like who you are. Like you are you Felicia is her soul, her spirit, but here's the expressions of her soul and spirit in so many beautiful, wonderful ways.
mhm. And
and
so
when
so
listening to
diverse. Like, like bowling is so competitive, and then you have
mm,
yoga, which is so holistic, spiritual, and all of that. And then you bring that spirituality and holisticness, or what's the word?
hmm it is
Into
now.
yeah. Into bowling. And it's like, that like that's your spirit. That's what, I love that.
Thank you. I think there's an important lesson there, which is when I was bowling, what I'm still bowling, when I bowl, right? And when I've worked with some coaches or some people, they've been like, you have to be more edgy. You have to put your game face on. You have to have grit. And you have to have this like stank face almost. And I'm
Stank
like,
face.
and so I tried a lot to bowl like that, and it always ended poorly, like bowl angry, right?
Mhm.
And I had to learn for me, like that's not where I bowl my best. When I bowl my best, I'm cheering my competitors on.
Mm.
I'm actually understanding that I'm not bowling against them. I can't control what they do. I focus on what I can control, which is what I bring to each shot, right? And back in 2018, I finally experienced this sensation of I was bowling a head-to-head match, and the winner got to move on to the nationals for the World Cup Championships. Like it was pretty
Big.
big, right? And I bowled very heart forward all day, wholehearted, and it finally hit me in that moment, like, oh, if they bowl their best and I bowl my best, then that's a win.
Mm.
Like I've done everything I could. I put my whole heart out there. I cannot control if I leave a single pin or something happens that just I've done all that I can and it feels like, oh, that feels like a win. And I finally let go of that need to win in that moment.
Mm.
And she had a great time in the match. I had a great time. I ended up winning, but that wasn't the lesson.
Wow. Oh, you make
Mm.
me cry.
I got
That's
goosies.
really, yeah, super beautiful.
And
Wow.
I hope that I can bring that to people who are ready for that kind of experience in bowling, but also, in life,
Your life. Mm.
changing from that scarcity mindset into abundance. It's like there's not just one winner.
Mm.
And that sounds so cliche, but there's enough for everybody, including
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
Mm.
And can I tap into that more? Again, it's a lifelong learning journey about reprogramming that mindset to be able to shift from oil and gas and drill baby drill right into it's like, okay, we can live in harmony with the planet
Mm.
and everyone can thrive if we're in alignment with the right things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Amen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It feels like very much moving from the either or to the and, right? Like really embracing that and see how that synergy creates a completely different field to act and play in, right? Mm.
Play. I love that you said play
Yes.
because one of the other things that came through just at the end of last year was like finding purpose through play
Mm,
and then helping others do that too,
mm,
right? And reminding others that what brings you joy, what you feel, what feels good and what you want to lean into through play is going to bring you more purpose. And it doesn't have to be either or, Chris, what you just
mm.
said, right? It's and.
Mhm.
It's
And our
always
And
and.
and that
what's
purpose can be
sorry.
playful. I think a lot of people, right, have that very serious space of even when they go into their life purpose, right? It's just like, look, it's got to be a serious thing. And oftentimes when I tune in or when we tune into people's purpose, there's so much of an exuberance and an effervescence and a
Mm,
joyful nature because it's our nature to be joyful. It's really it actually is, but there's a total um uh illusion out there that purpose has to have pressure to it.
Mm.
mhm.
And has to be driven and has to be big and has to be work and all of
Work
that. Yes.
and everything worth having is
Yes.
hard,
Exactly.
right? That's
Obviously.
a narrative that's commonly said in
Everywhere.
society. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, it's that one's been tough for me too sometimes. I mean, Devin helps me out with that a lot is sometimes I'm, working on reprogramming my belief systems and how I've naturally, not naturally, how I've been programmed to think or act or perceive things, right? And I get like this.
Mm.
Devin's like, and then you have to remember like it can be joyful.
Mm,
There's not to say that, we're not going to experience hard times, but that our true nature, like you said.
mm. And what's very obvious to me is that when you awaken people to that, when you show them that that is possible, that's actually a huge step in saving the planet because when we move through life in that kind of a frequency and that kind of an energy, we interact with the rest of the world, with nature, with everything completely differently than when we're like, how did you say, put on your what face?
Your game face
Your game
or
face, yes.
stank face. You can
Yeah.
you can choose.
With that phase, it's a completely different experience of life and interaction with life and nature and everything. So
And
yay to
everything.
you.
Oh, it's
Mhm.
that's so funny. The first words that came up was it's been hard work.
It's been a long path, maybe.
Well, and that's the other reminder is that everything in its own time.
Mm,
Oh, are you hearing dogs? Sorry.
that's okay. You
Okay,
you
you're
might
not.
hear mine
Oh,
as well.
okay. Yeah, they do bring me a lot of joy.
Yes.
When I'm writing
And
out lists of
frustration.
like things that always bring you joy, like
Mhm.
puppies and puppies. Yeah.
Speaking of joy, we'd love to transition into learning about, so what was your experience of joy growing up?
Hmm.
Talking about this conditioning and all these concepts, just like growing up, how was joy framed up for you?
Is that another bowling pun?
Oh my God, it is.
It is like framed up.
Frame,
Oh,
frame, like, oh,
is that
You
what
bowl
the pins
frames
are?
in bowling.
frame,
Like,
like
so
eighth
a whole
frame, 10th.
game
Hmm.
Mhm.
is 10 frames. You have like two throws per frame.
Okay.
So, ah, even as I think back to my childhood, there was a lot of playing outside, and that brought a lot of joy and connection. And I would say one of the belief systems and reprogramming I've really had to work through is I'm a younger sibling. And I always looked up to my older sister. And I may have always framed it in such a way that she was better than I was, and she got more attention and love. from my mom and dad. And when you, as a child especially, get a story in your head, right, you look for all the evidence that that's true. And so any situation I could, I'm like, oh, well, they're clapping louder for my sister on this shot than they are for me, right? And that's very likely untrue. But in my childlike mind, I wrote these stories, and she did have a lot of success as a bowler
Oh, wow.
early in life,
Mhm.
and set up records, when she was 9 years old, and won 4 gold medals in her first national championships. Like, so many beautiful accomplishments. Hopefully it's not coming off as I'm still bitter about it, because I've done a lot of work around that, right?
No.
Um, and yeah, so to me, I was always Sammy's little sister,
Mm,
and trying to live in her footsteps, and trying to live up to that image that I had of her in my mind,
mm,
which
And was your joy equal to that? Like that was the representation of that joy and love?
totally.
Yeah.
It's like when I would do well, then I would get the love that I thought I deserved. So then accolades and accomplishments meant love,
Yeah.
mm,
right? So there's a blend of look at me, everybody look at me, but don't look at me when I'm doing badly, or only see what I want you to see.
Mm.
mm,
So I put on a lot of masks, right, to
mm.
make myself seem perfect. So
Yeah.
I am a recovering perfectionist.
That's what I say.
This,
Me too.
yeah.
Me too. Yes. We're all are.
I'm shocked that we're all here
Totally.
together. We're all recovering perfectionists. Recovering perfectionists. Are you recovering people pleasers?
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Also shocking. Right? And it makes sense. It is in our nature, but now it gets to be of service,
Mm,
right? And in a way that's we are remembering our wholeness, and we
mm,
get to teach it from that point, instead of I'm going to diminish all of myself or give up myself so that you can be happy,
mm.
Mhm.
And what I
right?
love
That
about that is that while you remember your wholeness, you allow the other one to remember their wholeness as well, and have them have being recovering perfectionists and recovering people pleasers, and all of that is still okay to be there, right? It's all lovable, the whole of it, right? And
Mhm.
because you can step into that space, they can step into that as well.
I mean, that's the best way to be coaching and leading people. And I just admire all of us and this is why we all obviously resonate and connect with one another, because this is exactly how we lead, is we're here to demonstrate wholeness and then share people like, here's what's possible. But then as Felicia's sharing, I feel compelled to say, like, that thing of these perceptions and conditions, all of us have them. Like, all of us had these untruths that we perceived about, here's where my value comes from, here's where my joy and my love comes from. And it's usually conditional and external outside of us.
Mm.
So it's really a universal human experience, that thing. And but when we're in it, it's like it's just me, it's just me.
And
Yeah.
it's the truth. It's the only
Yeah.
truth. And I was,
Yeah.
while you were sharing, Felicia, I was wondering what your sister's perspective was then, what her narrative was then, because I am quite certain it was the exact opposite, like a similar story, because that's how it was, and with many siblings. But when you're in
um,
that situation, it feels like this is my world. I'm the only one experiencing this, and it's full, right?
well, and I've talked to her about it quite a few times since, we were that young, and we both had some space and time to be able to sit with it, and not be
Mm,
so charged by the
mm,
experiences or those belief systems.
mhm,
And she actually did have the opposite feeling, in a sense that she was actually always trying to make me happy.
mm.
Like, she would give me her toys when she was younger, and then she would cry about it because she really didn't want to give me her toys. And my mom had to say to her, like, you don't have to give up your toys. You can
Mm,
you can play with them too, right? And so even that still plays out throughout our adulthood. Is I think when I won the 2018, Canadian team trial, something she's been trying to do for longer than I have, she was happier for me winning than
mm.
she would have been for herself being in the same position.
Wow. Mm,
Mm.
So it's a very opposite experience, where I'm kind of in awe that she can be so selflessly happy for me.
mm.
Because I'm, like my competitive side comes out a lot where I'm like, I'm happy for you and I still want to win. Like, so, um, she's actually had to learn how to be more selfless in that way.
Mm,
And I think that comes as being an older, like there's so many
mm,
studies psychologically about older sibling, first child
mm,
stories and paradigms. And like she has a lot of that in her life journey.
mm.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
let's transition to present day. So now, how do you relate to joy now?
Hmm. Through this. It's a lot of like
I felt it directly.
sometimes, our ego still wants to control the narrative. Like you should be doing this. You need to do this. You have to finish these tasks in order to be happy or be productive or have a good day, right? And sometimes I have to come back to myself, sit in some stillness or do some yoga and meditation and or just breathe and feel into my heart space and allow myself to feel into like what really would feel good and whole in this moment, right? And I have to do that several times a day because the ego is still always so strong, right? In
Mm,
terms of, oh, but you're not doing enough of this. You're not doing enough of this. And especially starting my own business, um, in my mind, if I'm, using that comparative nature, it's been slow and
mm,
it's been hard to lean into the unknown and not having every step mapped out and knowing exactly where I want to go or how this business is going to come into fruition and be like, yep, you're going to do. Everyone's like, oh, what's your 5-year plan? Yep, I have this, 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 this. I'm like, I have none of that. I don't even know. Like,
Yay! That's
ah,
perfect.
so it's like, you're on a roller coaster, you're about to go downhill and you're trying to enjoy it and lift your hands, but you're also trying to hold on really tight. Like, so there's that constant reminder of like, it's gonna be okay. Trust. Trust that when you lean into the joy, when you lean into feeling good, when you lean into your authenticity, like the things that are needed are gonna come up. And Chris, you had said, or something you had said earlier reminded me of a coaching session I had where someone was coaching me and said, everything through the eyes of the universe is through the lens of unconditional love.
Mm,
So, any experience that we've had, any experience that we're going to have, whether in the moment it's perceived as negative or bad,
mm,
right? It's actually through the lens of unconditional love, and it's bringing us closer to the truth of who we are,
mm,
right? And if I look back on my, past relationships or even the work experience for 12 years, right? There's really great things that came out of that led me to who I am now. So, continually looking back at evidence for the trusting side of the universe, right? In the ways that I've been supported by the universe, even when I didn't know it at the time. And then being able to lean into that trust moving forward and connecting with souls like yourselves that are plugged in more to the joy more
mm.
often, right? No one is going to be plugged in 100% of the time to the joy and the
We're not
source in
meant
the
to.
universe. We're not meant to. This
It
is
would be
life, right?
boring, right?
Oh, people tell me that all the time, and I'm like, I don't know. Like,
Let's
let me
try
just experience that
it.
for a little while. But it's true. If you got
Mm,
everything that you ever wanted right away, like, would you appreciate it as much?
mm,
If I won every single time or struck every single time I stepped up on the lane, would I appreciate all of those tears that I've shed in the past?
mm,
Would I have like all of that to all of these beautiful people who have helped me along my journey,
mm.
right? And and so remembering to tap into the joy is what I'm actively being more conscious of and inviting more into my life and having morning practices to do so and hopefully throughout the day, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Lean into the
Totally.
joy.
Love it.
Amen.
Amen. I hope. So
I hope.
transitioning, I know, right? Is what so transitioning into like the world. So how do you perceive joy in the world currently?
Yeah. Mm. Expand on that a little bit for me.
Well, like, so when I answered this question, what my perception of things were is that, right, there's a big focus on the lack of joy, but it's an opportunity. I saw it as an opportunity for joy to come to life. But, there's a lot of focus on negativity and the darkness and the struggle right now. But from your point of view, you being you, the very being of joy that you are, just what comes to you when you hear this question of how do you perceive joy in the world currently?
I work with a sports psychologist named Dr. Dean Hinnitz. Wonderful person. And much more than just a sports psychologist, kind of lives on this energetic plane that it's a little, mind-blowing at times. But he always says to me, there's a lot more going right with the world than going wrong. And a lot of the times, just like if you said you won all the time, you wouldn't enjoy it. I'm like, I don't know. Sometimes it's easy to slip into that. I don't know, because all of this focus, like you said, Devin, is around the negative narratives, right? And if we kind of switch into that lens of everything from the universe is through the lens of unconditional love, then we need all of these times of turmoil as well to help us remember the truth wherever that be, like wherever that comes back to and whenever it comes back to. And just because those things are happening doesn't mean good things are not also concurrently happening, right? And how can we look for evidence that there is good things always happening
Mm-hmm.
and appreciate, like feel that deep sense of appreciation throughout every cell in your body, not just a blip that goes through your head like, oh, that's cool. And then you're bombarded and feel all the negativity in your cells because that's so easy to do
Mm-hmm.
when you hear the sad stories, right? How can I take moments to actually appreciate those good times that happen and feel that throughout my body instead of just letting it pass by too quickly?
Mm. Totally, right? It's like when we place the value on joy, especially in dark, challenging times, is that if you focus on it, if you're just focused on darkness, you're just going to see darkness. But if you focus on valuing joy and seeing where can I find joy within this day and having that intention, you will find it, right? I remember early days when Felicia and I were playing with energy. There's this book called E Squared, and there's an exercise in the book to where you intend to see a sunset beige car. And believe it, at first my ego's like, what the heck is a sunset beige car? Like, what does that even look like? And then all of a
I
sudden I'm
was
like, oh my
thinking
God.
exactly that.
And then I was like, oh my God, there's a sunset beige car. Like, and it's where your focus goes, the energy flows, right? And so if you're focusing on joy, there's gonna be more joy. And so right there with you, sister. Love it.
It's not always easy. And, right, who do we surround ourselves with? Are we surrounding ourselves with people who are in that perspective? Are we listening? Are we looking for stories on Facebook that are in that narrative, especially the comments? Please don't look at the comment section on Facebook or social media, right? Like you can go into
It
such a
can,
spiral.
but it can be very fun.
It can be fun, right? There's the other side of the coin, right?
Mhm.
Who are we surrounding ourselves and where do they tend to bring your energy? Is it into the negative or is it into the uplifting? And like you've mentioned on your podcast before, it's not about toxic positivity. It's not about sugarcoating or band-aiding. It's when you look for evidence that something is there, that a story is real, you will find it.
Mhm.
Mm.
So if the world is dark and everything is bad, oh, I can find endless narratives that will support that story,
Mhm.
right? And if I open myself, the more you open yourself to joy, the more that frequency comes back to you.
Mm.
As Devin said, where you focus, your energy flows. Like when you focus on even just that tiny moment in your day, looking at your dog's face, and it's like, heart exploding joy, sipping your first cup of coffee in the day, right? That can be a deep appreciation moment for those who drink coffee or tea or whatever it is, right? And finding those moments of appreciation every day, all day.
Mm. And the interesting thing to me is that when we're not consciously doing this, like when like Devin said, when we don't consciously focus on choosing joy, our brains automatically like we need 10 positive incidents to balance out one negative one. And there's so many more negative out there that are, like in the news and everywhere. So
In
if
your
we
face.
exactly. And if we're not consciously choosing that, then that's what we will be bombarded with, right?
Hmm.
And that is exactly why we consciously chose to start this podcast.
Yes.
And to be sharing this frequency with the world, right? And we have this visual of a cosmic joy pot as our Journey of You podcast, is that we're filling a cosmic joy pot with every episode, with every time that we connect to, and every time we're bringing energy in. And so thank you for filling it with us today. And as we love this visual, and we like go into this visual of the cosmic joy pot that we give to overflow into joy for us to connect into, and for other people, for our listeners, for everybody to be able to connect into. So my question to you now is if everything was possible in the world, what would you make what would make you overflow with joy, to overflow into this joy pot?
There's so much. There's so much. If every single being on this planet could be connected to a wholehearted, heart-centered, heart-forward way of living, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that interconnectedness, and then you picture Care Bears, right? And their light is just shining so brightly from their chest, and everybody is like shining that light into that joy pot. And it's not just that you're now shining it away from you, but everybody then becomes enveloped in this light. And that's available and that's there. And it's like remembering to be able to like when you connect in, that shines just a little bit brighter and it creates this like fountain around you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If we can all connect into that, wow, could you think of the possibilities of what this planet and this all the people on this planet could be like?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can. And I love imagining that.
Mm.
Same.
I love this
Yeah.
intention. We're here for this intention. Totally.
That's when my coaching business would no longer need to exist.
Right?
This podcast would need to exist.
Mhm. And
Everybody's tapped in.
that's exactly why these things exist, you know? Like I imagine people who are focused on darkness, like when they see a joy podcast in this, it's like, ugh, right? Like I can just feel that, I can feel that energy of like another that kind of like sugar coated joy. But like these are the actual reasons why we feel called. We not only feel called, but we like follow the call to put this energy into the world and for this frequency to be more vibrant, to be overflowing. And why our souls don't shut up about it. The other thing too is like in those 12 years, right? Every year you being ill and having an anxiety attack is your soul being like, this needs to come forward. And I had the same thing with my book, with this podcast. It's like there's something behind us saying like the world needs this now. The world needs
Mhm.
this now. Yeah.
And it's still not a band-aid sugarcoat, right?
Mm-mm.
You bring it forward in such an authentic way. Even the episode number 2, right, where you both are starting to talk about joy, and you come into it with the stories of like what had happened to you right before recording, and bringing all of that life authenticity in, right?
Mm.
It's not like, okay, just because you tap into joy, every single thing in your life is gonna like bloop align. You're never gonna struggle again. You're only gonna
Oh,
experience joy, right?
that
It's
would be so boring. Not.
it would be so
I would
boring.
totally sign up for
Okay.
it. It's a boring
It's the
life.
reminders, how do we connect back into joy when we're feeling out of alignment?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
And
I
it's
love that.
okay.
Yeah, and it's so okay. It's so okay. It's part of the experience, right? It's part of the experience. And I
It's
love for us.
needed even.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Super, super. And I love that we can share this with you, and that your essence is just that, and that we get to express and show that to the world.
I I can't express my appreciation enough for the two of you, A, starting this podcast, and then B, inviting me in to be part of this.
Oh,
It's lovely.
Hmm.
It's lovely.
it's
It
really lovely
is.
to have you, truly.
It is.
My
It
whole
really
body
is.
is tingling in this moment. So
I love it. Well, there's going to be more tingles because we have a special surprise for you today, Felicia, on your birthday. We
It's your
do.
birthday.
It's your birthday. We're gonna
I like
party
that
like
Chris
it's
raises
your
the
birthday.
roof.
I know, raise the roof.
We are millennials. Yes,
We
we're
are
gonna
not
party
Gen
like
Z.
it's your birthday. Oh.
So we have a special
Aw.
gift for you today on your birthday. And yes, it was intentionally to be a surprise so that you would have this authentic joy come forward of you. We would love to give you today a gift of an intuitive greatness reading.
Yes, please. That sounds
I, I
great.
was I was just gonna say you can say no. You don't have to take it.
Who would say no to that? That sounds fantastic.
Right?
Thank
Yeah. And
you.
so what we do, of course, yes, it's genuinely our pleasure. And it's we would do it anyways, but it's so beautiful that it just happened to have been on your birthday. And what a great gift is for you to be further aligned to who you are in your greatness. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna tune in and intuitively tune into you in your greatness and just literally do a live intuitive reading on you of who you are in your greatness.
Oh my gosh. Yes, please. Thank you. This is lovely. And even as you say my greatness, like part of me is like, don't don't own that. I'm like,
Ooh,
okay, no, no, no.
yeah.
You're cool. You're cool.
No, that's something to really to speak about. I think we some recent episode we
Yeah,
talked about this of that oftentimes um oftentimes I think it was in our greatness episode, wasn't
exactly. Like
it?
two episodes ago.
Yeah, we did an episode on greatness, and that's exactly what tends to happen when people go to meet their greatness is one
Mm.
side of us absolutely is all in, and as soon as we get real about like, okay, you're about ready to get it, and it's just like, oh shit.
I can't be that.
It's true. It's like, there's so many times, like very recently in the last few days, I'm like, hey, everybody, look at me, see how great I am. But I'm like, no,
Don't
no,
look at
no,
me, don't look
don't
at
look at
me.
me. I can't say that too loudly.
Isn't it
So,
funny? Isn't it funny how we
ah,
want the attention, but then once it is, we don't want it. So let's set the intention. And I just invite you, if it feels true for you, to intend to receive this reading, intend to receive the fullness of this reading, intending just to receive the benefit of receiving your greatness today. And we choose to be of service to you in your greatness and to share with you your true nature and purpose through your greatness.
I freaking love it.
And here we go. We're just going to tune in and then we'll be on our way.
So what's coming through for me immediately is this really, so in your greatness, you are truly grounded. And it's not a coincidence that your birthday is on Earth Day because you have a vibrant connection to Earth. And this connection, this grounding is what you share with others, whether you speak with them, whether you interact with them, or whether you just step into a room, you you exude grounding, and it comes through your voice as well. But even when you don't speak, it's who you are at your core. It's a very, very grounded energy. And I feel, especially in today's day and age, with all this overload of information and everything that comes in, with your sense being so grounded, it's you have a huge effect on people.
Mm.
Yeah, immediately what I get about your greatness, Felicia, is the naturalness of it. Is that you
Mm.
can enter a room and you can connect to people across the room just simply by like smiling and you just beam, like your heart, you just beam out to other people. And it's not something that you have to try at all. In your greatness, it's just who you are. It's your very being. And but it has this very core essence of the nature of Earth and how it's just like this is just how this is. This is just who I am. And when you speak to people about the nature of life, it has such a grounded conviction to it because it just is, and it's
Mm.
just like there's no other way to see this. And so it's not. It's like some people, when they share about things, they get really like trying to pump it up and promote it. It's just like here's isness, and when you share
Mm.
that with people, it really translates to them because it's you're carrying it within your own soul and yourself and your own cells and your own being, and it just allows it, like in your greatness you are embodied in that and just carry that wisdom, but also the vibration, the frequency to be like, come with me, learn, like be in this nature of life with me.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, and what I also get really strongly is this really gentle energy. Like there is no pushing and no pulling in your greatness. It's like an invitation. Like you don't need to convince people. You don't need to do any big advertising or anything. It's just this really super gentle invitation, and there is no pressure. And that's what makes your energy so incredibly attractive because this is what everybody craves, right? It's this to be allowed to be who we are and to be accepted as we are. And this, yeah, I just feel it like gentle waves, like the ocean really, um, just really gentle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm seeing it much like if we were to use a metaphor of like a tree, like somehow sometimes a tree
Mm,
is like calling you to come sit underneath of it, and it's just like come sit underneath with me and be with me. That's the energy and the essence that you invite people into your aura and into your field is just like just come be with me, come sit underneath the tree, and let's be in this together to be able to soften into what life is actually about and what community and connecting also is about too, is I really get in your greatness, again, that whole ability to connect so effortlessly with people. But the deeper connections that you have one-on-one with people have such an even softerness because it's like you've really brought them into the fold. And so it's like you get to drop down an octave, if you will,
Mm.
and you get to be able to really come from your depths more. And that's obvious about how why singing and why that vibration of singing is really really true and speaks to you is because it allows you to explore the different octaves that you have and the ability to connect on different levels.
mm. Totally forgot about the singing, but yeah, that makes so much sense now. Oh my goodness. But what also came to me is I saw your pendulum swinging, right? And what I'm
Mm.
seeing is that through this gentle grounding energy that you just radiate, you allow people to regenerate with you and to collect the energy to actually do something, to get into action, to do the things they're called to do because
Mm.
they're grounded, they're focused, they're centered, and all of this and this it feels like a gentle cocoon, right? Where
Mm,
you hold them in. And through that, they're able to regenerate to a level where they can actually take action from their hearts, from their truth, from who they truly are. Whereas, when they're um scattered in all these, I have to do this, I have to do that, their energy is all over the place. But with you, they can ground and they
Mm.
can be, and that goes for you as well, obviously, right? That's who you are at your core, right?
mm-hmm. And what I also get about your greatness, Felicia, is that your core is that you are a natural leader. You are a natural coach. You're just a natural at guiding and leading people because you're willing to be there with them and in that soft nurturing way and just listening, right? Like oftentimes a lot of times it's just listening and it's just like I'm here to hold space for that, but it's a very like listening with your very core of your being so that people feel held and received, and that's what allows them to come down, that allows them to shake off all of the static and to shake that all off, is to be able to be like, much like the earth does, like I talk about with people how the earth takes wonky vibrations and then like smooths them out. Like that's you,
Mhm.
baby. You totally take like these really frantic vibrations and then actually ground them out. And as you and I both know, like in the other aspect of you, in your ego, there's a big identity with anxiety. In your greatness, it's like I'm here to help people with anxiety. Actually,
Exactly.
I'm
Mm.
here to
And
take those experiences and show you that like I did this, you can do this. This is what the earth does, and if we use these resources in a communal way, this is what's available, and this is how that we can self-regulate the nervous system and co-regulate with earth and each other.
Mm.
I absolutely see the leadership as well, but it's not a like the archaic form of leadership where it's like a hierarchy or, let me lead you, follow the umbrella. But it's like you lead from the heart with the heart. It's like walking the path with someone. It's more
Mhm.
like a guidance and support rather than follow me kind of leadership.
Oh,
And
totally. A
it's
hand in
yeah,
hand. I'm your friend. Come
yes,
with me. Yeah,
yes, yes.
totally.
Like I
Totally.
got you, I got you. And
Hmm.
I also got this that you experienced these anxiety attacks, so you can help people through that. It's like this is part of your portfolio. Like you've been there, you've done that. I got you.
It's my resume. Things
Yes,
I've conquered.
exactly.
You have anxiety, you experience anxiety?
Yeah,
I'm your
I
gal.
have I have the t-shirt.
It's too funny. Someone once described me as like the human Prozac,
Oh yeah.
which a very different way of saying what you guys are saying.
Very spot on, very spot on. Just no negative side effects.
And no pharmaceutical aspect, please.
Yes.
Or
Oh my God.
Xanax. Maybe they said whatever it is. That doesn't matter.
Whatever
Irrelevant.
drug. We're not here for it.
You're
You're the
you're the happy pill.
anti-anxiety drugs.
Yes,
You're the
the happy
happy.
pill.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Felicia, over to you. You don't, feel whatever you can share or not, but there you have it. There you are in your greatness. Um, how you
Thank you
doing?
for
What was it like to receive your greatness?
Well, it felt like, Chris, you had said you don't need to promote yourself or push for that, right? And that actually felt like a lot of permission to just let go because in starting a business, you look at marketing strategies, you look at niching, you look at your messaging, you look at your content creation, and it all felt so inauthentic. It
Mm,
didn't feel inauthentic in such a way that I was aware that it felt inauthentic. It more so felt
mm,
like that was pushing, that was controlling, that was trying.
put on your
And,
game face.
like trying, yeah, yeah, exactly. Trying to get clients, trying to get people to see me, trying to understand what my value is so that I can explain it to people, but I don't have to explain it.
Mm-mm.
Just let go.
mm-hmm,
Just keep being me. Put out whatever content feels real and authentic to just being me.
mm-hmm.
If I want to show myself crying in a corner, cool. It's probably not going to happen. Or I'm just, acting like a goofy child on the lanes. Like, that's going to be where the magic is. And then that's okay. And I don't have to think this one through.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So that was really lovely.
Mm.
And Devin, what you were talking about with the tree, I automatically got a vision of Grandmother Willow, obviously. From
Obviously.
the movie Pocahontas. And for those of you who don't know, Devin and I are big Disney fans. Like we used to
Super.
play Disney trivia when we were in college
Disney
together.
nerds. Disney nerds.
Not when we were children, when we were in college.
Totally.
Still children, but different ways. And yeah, so Grandmother Willow,
Mm,
that
mm.
very comforting, nurturing, listen to your heart.
I was about to say, do you know the song, right? Listen with your heart, you
You
will.
will understand. Yeah, it's actually got a really nice vibration to it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so what do I feel? It's like a weight has been lifted off the shoulders and I can just be. I don't have to try. I can just be.
This is who you are. It's your nature.
And it's not like, did you ever watch that movie, uh, Field of Dreams, where they're like, if you build it, they will come.
Mhm. Exactly.
If you be, they will come.
Exactly.
Become. I saw that. I see that within that. If you be, they will come. Become.
Okay, that's gonna become a meme.
Right? I totally.
Thank you. That was
You're
a blessing. That was so many blessings. I will re-listen to that over and over again, just to let that infuse into my mind more so, because my cells already know.
yeah. Yeah, and it really speaks to that of like taking it in layers and just letting it marinate, right? It's just like letting it come in and letting yourself receive it in layers. So absolutely.
Yeah, like and whenever I'm feeling like disconnected from that, I can tap into this and be like, oh
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you. Thank
Totally.
you.
You're so very welcome. Our pleasure. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's my birthday. I'm
And
gonna
thank
get some
you.
cupcakes.
Thank you for allowing us to tune into you because it was really a very, very beautiful energy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
As are both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm
So
picturing
how
like our frequencies like building on each other, right? And like combining it like whoa, 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 whoa. What were
So
you gonna
now
say?
that people know how incredibly awesome you are, how can they find you? They want to be coached by you.
I have a website. It is www.happier-you.com.
Mm.
And a brief little backstory about how Happier You became the name of the business is Felicia is Latin based and it means happy.
Yes.
So at first it was like, oh, maybe I should make a company called Happy Yoga. And that was taken for
Mhm.
good reason. Because then it became, ooh, happier yoga, like the path to happiness. And so this is Happier You is like the path to happy you.
Aw,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. I do have an Instagram account as well. It's at happier.you for life, like dot for dot life.
We
It's
will share that in the show notes.
Totally.
lovely, lovely. I'll send you the links and all that stuff. So thank you
Totally.
so
Beautiful.
much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being willing to come in on your birthday and to share the joy of you with us and the world.
Mm,
Yay.
really grateful. Thank you,
Me
Felicia.
too. Me too.
And so to all of you listeners, as you celebrate Felicia and Earth Day and all of this, is that if you feel compelled to have your own intuitive greatness reading, what we invite you now to do is to get a comment, put a comment on one of our pages, whatever it may be, and then we're gonna do a little drawing. So anybody who enters into and does a comment is we will put you in a drawing for a free intuitive greatness reading. And we can do that live or we can do that private, but we want to be able to share this more with the world and have more people enlivened and awakened to their greatness. And so if that's you, let us know. And we'd love to give you this gift as well and have this essence of not only joy but this giving of greatness and people awakening and just like the very vision that Felicia
I
was
was just going
sharing.
to say that. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yes. The Care Bears.
Very vision of what Felicia is that let's all become Care Bears and share this. And so here's your call if that speaks to you. We'd love to give that to someone else too.
Yeah, and I want to add if you would leave a review or just add the stars on Spotify. I think on Spotify you just leave stars. It's not a full review, and on Apple Podcasts you can leave a full review. If you do that, take a screenshot because we won't always see that, and send it to our email address, and then you will be added to the what's it called in English? The draw thing.
The lottery.
Lottery, yes.
Lottery
That,
draw. Yeah, okay.
exactly.
Apologies. Thank you for that clarification, Chris. Our intention here was reviews. So if you can, what reviews or
Yes,
comments? Can we say that,
exactly.
right?
Yes, yes,
Interact with us, y'all.
yes.
Give us something. Give us something. And then give us a screenshot. And then you just email us at journeyofyoupodcast@gmail. We'll put all that into the show notes and you'll be entered into win your very own intuitive greatness reading.
Do it. More joy for everyone, please.
More Care
And
Bears.
remembering your unique greatness. That's so important. Soul important.
I love all the puns that came through today.
Yes.
Love, 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 love. I love you
Beautiful.
both, and it was such a joy to share in today's our first interview on the podcast. What a great one! What a great start.
Oh, I'm so blessed.
You are. We are.
We are,
We
yes.
all are. Thank you.
Okay,
Beautiful.
lovelies. All right. Till next time, everybody. Here's to you. Here's to joy.
Bye.
Bye.